What is up, my children of the corn? This is Andy coming to you before Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final. Is this going to be our last day together? Is this like when you know a relationship is about to end, but you're trying to sneak those last couple of dates? Well, maybe let's just try to enjoy as much of a time. You know what? Bad example. You know what it's like? We met on vacation, and we're trying to sneak in as many hangouts as we can before we go home to our respective areas. That's kind of what today is. We're trying to sneak in another hangout at the beach, and just saying, well, dude, do you have any more time? When's your flight? And that's going to be Game 6 potentially, but are we going to get to a Game 6 if the way this series has played out is any indication? Probably not. If you see the way the line has moved on this game, probably not. But if there's anything this postseason has taught us, is that I guess, what a cliche, say anything's possible. No, that's not true, by the way. Anything's not possible. One of my friends claims that if he grew up next door to Sidney Crosby, he would be as good as Sidney Crosby. And that's not even a joke. He actually believes that. He is a nurture over nature guy. I am a marriage of the two guy. And why are we getting into this? Because, I don't know. There's actually no reason. So why don't we get into this Game 5 prediction? What do I think of this Game 5? Last game, I thought that Vegas was going to be able to bounce back. Every time someone falls in love this playoffs, usually you got to go the other way. People thought that Florida came back in Game 3, like, oh, now it's the comeback Cats. And then we just saw Vegas completely go back to dominating every facet of the game, which they've done the majority of the series, which I thought their depth would allow them to do. And then also that extra time for Bobrovsky would bring him back down to normal, and they've scored at least 2, 3, 4, 5 in all these games. And why is Game 5 going to be any different? You think about Vegas potentially lollygagging around this game, kind of like they did Game 5 last series against Dallas, but they played pretty well in that game. You're talking about having the chance to win the Cup on your home ice in Las Vegas. But then again, I guess, you know what, the best part about this series that nobody's talked about is whoever wins the Cup, Vegas, is going to have an awesome city to celebrate it in. Whether they win it in Miami or they win it in Vegas, my God, would I like to be. This is the one time I wish I was like a reporter over there. Oh yeah, live reporting from the locker room, aka let's just get this over with so I can be a part of the best party I've ever had in my life tonight. What do you think, Barkov? Cool. Where's the after party at? Oh, what a time. Oh, you reporters. I know you're going to have a good time tonight. What's that girl's name? Jackie Redmond? Jackie! I know you're out there having fun tonight. Who else? Who else is over there? Oh yeah, I forgot. That's right. You're here for bets. So obviously, we've seen the line shift. Why is the line shifted? Because the mouthpiece chewer is a game time decision, which means in the playoffs, if you're a game time decision, you're straight up injured. He is straight up injured. And clearly he was, because he didn't take normal shifts throughout the majority of the third period. He got out there when the empty net was pulled, and he probably is going to be limited even if he plays tonight, which gives us the opportunity, if you can find it, to take props against Matthew Tkachuk, whether that is the shots on goal. I know if you went over to OddsShopper Premium, their top pick, if you can get a hold of it, is the under half of a goal on Matthew Tkachuk. That probably is a good bet if it's still there, but we'll get to some other OddsShopper Premium picks in a little bit. A non-premium standard Andy pick that you can get on the in-and-out menu is the Las Vegas Golden Knights. Can Florida win this game? Potentially. But without Matthew Tkachuk and the way they're just being outplayed throughout this series, I have a hard time seeing them do so. It's not going to be easy for them, and I know maybe it's a relatively chalky pick, but I do want to go with the Las Vegas Golden Knights. Now, I just mentioned that line went all the way from like 150 to minus 190 on some sites. So what do we do when we see a line hovering around 200? We combine it with a point prop. And who are we going to use? Jack Eichel, who's been raking up points the entirety of the playoffs. Yeah, he hasn't been scoring goals, but that's because he keeps deferring on his shots, which, I don't know, they keep setting his over-under shots. Has he gone over 3.5 shots in one game in this series? And there's been an overtime game. Has he went over once? So how about that? You can take the Las Vegas Golden Knights with the under 3.5 shots on goal for Jack Eichel, or a point for Jack Eichel, because Marchessault is unbelievable. Oh, yeah, you can take Jonathan Marchessault to register a point. Any one of those three with Vegas to win gets you them at plus money. And then you want to know what you can do? Bet $1,250 on that. On Caesars. Only if you're a new user on the platform, because then it's going to be risk-free. That's what Caesars has going on. Your first bet on Caesars is risk-free up to $1,250. As long as you're a new user on the platform, over 21, and you're betting from a place where sports betting is legal. But if you have a problem, as I mentioned many times, call 1-800-GAMBLER. That supersedes everything in this series. Okay? So I gave you those same game parlays, any one of those to use. I mentioned before the last game that I believe it's going to be the inverse of all the penalties we saw called. Tons of penalties. I said, I bet you there's not a lot of penalties called in the next game. What did we get? We had one power play, and then with 15 seconds left, Pietrangelo shot it over the glass, and that was the second power play of the game. But that's one that you can't even swallow your whistle on. It's one of those black and white penalties. And I think the rest of this series is going to be very similar. I came up with a saying today. It's called, refs don't want their name on the cup. In potential closeout games, people don't want to be able to hear, oh, the refs screwed so-and-so. The refs are the reason they won that game. So I think you're going to get more swallowed whistles, as always is the case, typically with the NHL playoffs. This NHL playoffs is an asterisk in my memory on so many fronts. Forget about the Avalanche, the Bruins, all those things, even with power plays, penalties called, all that stuff. But you're not going to see it in what I believe for the rest of this series. Game 5, potential 6, potential 7, we'll see if we get those. But I don't think there's going to be many penalties. And if there aren't many penalties, for me, that's always meant under. Many of these games, 3 of the 4 games in this series. Game 1, 2-2 in the third. Game 3, 2-2 in the third. Game 4, 3-2 in the third. So I'm always going to veer towards the under. But interestingly enough, rather than just taking the flat under 6, I want to take Vegas minus 1.5 under 6. This is an over plus 300 bet. My personal prediction is that I see this game, I don't know why, call it those sniff gods, I'm smelling 3-1 in the third period. And if that's going to be the case, you know Paul Maurice will pull the goalie with 5 minutes left. This might be a day to utilize one of those Andy bets, the 70%, 20%, 10%, where we take Vegas. If we have $100, we put 70 on Vegas, 20 on Vegas by minus 1.5, and 10 on Vegas minus 2.5, because this could be one of those multiple empty net situations. But like I started, Vegas minus 1.5. Under 6.5. In case it's once again 3-2, the only thing that was missing last game was firing one at the empty net. But I would foresee that if they're down on the road, you're getting that goalie pulled with like a full 3 minutes left. And if that's the case, I like the minus 1.5, under 6.5 for Vegas to win this game. As far as player props, I mentioned Area 51 Bunker Analytics, OddsShopper Premium. They like that under half of a goal for Matthew Tkachuk if you can find it. They also like the under half of a point on all the major contributors for Florida outside of Barkov. I don't think I saw him on there, but you're talking about Reinhart, Bennett, Montour, and it makes sense. I think Florida is going to have trouble scoring in this game. My personal prediction without seeing that was that they were going to be down 3-1 in the third. So if they're going to be down 3-1 in the third, a lot of those guys ain't going to be on the score sheet. So under half of a point for the major Florida contributors. And then I'm going to go back to what I told you guys the other night. 3.5 shots on goal it's just too many shots for me. And with 1 minute remaining in that game, every single one of those guys, I think, Marchessault, Verhaeghe, Tkachuk, Montour, Eichel, all of them were under 3.5. Now, that final flurry allowed Verhaeghe and Tkachuk to go over 3.5. But those other guys, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, Eichel hasn't gone over once. Marchessault's hit 3 a couple of... It's not easy to hit 4 shots. And of those bunch, my favorite, once again, is Brandon Montour. I have a feeling he's a little bit injured. So if you want to combine everything I've given you, you want to go back to those Caesar same gamers. We got Vegas to win. A Marchessault point under 3.5 shots on goal for Brandon Montour. I will give you some solid plus money. Those are the variety of bets that I like for this game. We will see what happens. We will see if Vegas hoists the cup tonight. I wish I was there. I would celebrate like Jokic in the locker room. I'd pretend I'd be having a great time, but then when push comes to shove, I'd actually be relatively miserable if it was at a crowded club. Anyway, that is what I have for you. We will see if there is a Game 6. Regardless, if there is or isn't, I will have another video just summarizing the season, maybe give you my predictions on next season. Thank you guys for being here with me all season, but we'll get to that then. Until then, Good luck to you. Better luck to me. Make sure you're subscribed to the OddsShopper channel so you know whenever that next video comes out. Follow me on Instagram. It's at Andy Francis, the way you see on your screen on all social media platforms. Good luck, and I will talk to you soon.